The Indian Child Welfare Act, ICWA, was made to keep Native children with their families or tribal communities. The ICWA is the responsible party to give guidance and standards for U.S. states when handling certain issues and rights involving Native children. White people adopted Native American children to further the government's goal of assimilation. This was happening all over America. The Bureau of Indian Affairs established the Indian Adoption Project in 1958. This adoption policy took one-third of Native American children from their homes. Like the boarding school initiative, the goal of forced Native adoptions was to break indigenous families apart and rob future generations of their ancestral languages, teachings, and practices. Both the U.S. Indian boarding school and the Indian adoption policies were designed on purpose to force assimilation and destroy Native cultures and family systems. Of those children taken, 85% were placed outside of their tribal communities. This happened even if family members or other tribal members wanted to take them. The American Indian adoption era grew to include 50 private and public placement agencies across the United States and Canada. During the next 20 years, almost 13,000 Native children would be adopted.
My name is Lucas Angus. I'm born and raised in Portland, Oregon. Enrolled in Nez Perce. I'm also Cayuse. That's from my dad's side. I'm also Tlingit Haida descent on my mom's side. As far as I know, when I was born, I was immediately adopted.
It was pretty much decided for us. The doctor gave me a private attorney's name, and we never talked about the end result of Lucas being born and if I was going to keep him and raise him. And we just called the attorney. He came in and sat down, and I signed the papers, and that was it.
Along with the removal of indigenous children through the 1970s, doctors sterilized 25 to 42% of Native American women as young as 15 years old. This process of eugenics had already been in place in the U.S., targeting people of color, poor people, unmarried mothers, the disabled, and mentally ill. David and Louisa Rendon, a white Earth Chippewa couple from Minnesota, moved to Texas for David's employment in the oil fields in the 1970s. The couple was overjoyed when she delivered a premature healthy baby boy, Jason, in a Texas hospital in April 1974. While the baby was still in the hospital, the Texas Welfare Department got a court order giving the state temporary custody of Jason on the grounds that Louisa had personal habits which kept her outside of the home, and that she was not prepared for such a child because she had not yet bought crib or diapers. The Welfare Department also considered the child to be in a dangerous situation because David, a migrant worker, was gone from home for periods of time. In January 1975, with Association on American Indian Affairs attorney Bertram Hirsch, the couple went to the Menard County District Court. Hirsch pointed out the poor reasoning of removing an infant that had not yet even gone home with his parents on the basis that this couple would probably neglect this child, and how unfair it was to expect the Rendons to have bought items for a premature baby. The judge decided in the Rendons' favor, but, according to Hirsch, the judge told him during a court recess, "I'm going to give this child back to the Rendons, but I'm not going to do it for another 30 days from now." Then the judge added, "I don't care what they do with this child. They can barbecue the child for all I care." Reports and articles made by Indian Adoption Project Director Arnold Leislow and other pro-adoption supporters had left Indian families like the Rendons faceless, voiceless, assumed guilty of neglect, abandonment, or abuse. The well-known popular children's rhyme actually came from this time period in support of Native American adoptions and their adoptive families. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians, and 206 more are brightening the homes and lives of 172 American families, mostly non-Indians who have taken the Indian waifs as their own. The Welfare League of America. In 1978, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, BIA, asked for more funding from Congress and published new regulations. Congress passed the American Religious Freedom Act, AIRFA. This law protects the right of American Indians to practice their traditional religions. In 1978, Congress took responsibility and passed the Indian Child Welfare Act, which aims to protect Indian children in foster care and adoptive homes. How is this adoption different from others?
This adoption was different from other adoptions that we had done. When we saw our son in the adoption site from all over the United States, we called to find out about his information. They told us that they were waiting for a Native family to adopt him. We were turned away. Native American families at that time did not adopt.
What steps did you need to go through?
Well, he was 5, and when he was 10, the adoption agency called and asked us if we were still interested because his Navajo tribe had released him for adoption. Since no Native American families would adopt him, we said yes. He was in foster care in Denver, and we flew there to bring him home. He had been through many foster homes.
What types of things were in place to keep him connected to his culture, or did you need to find things on your own?
We went to powwows in the state and started a library for him so he had some Native American books. And luckily in our area here in Michigan, there are a lot of indigenous tribal groups, and we were able to get materials and attend events.
The ICWA requires caseworkers to follow several steps when handling a case that involves a Native child. These steps make sure that the child's family and tribe know everything that happens.
But this law is not without controversy. In 2013, the Supreme Court heard the complex custody case of little Veronica. That confusing legal battle beginning when Veronica's birth mother put her baby up for adoption. Matthew and Melanie Capobianco raised Veronica for the first 2 years of her life. But when the child's father, Dustin Brown, a member of the Cherokee Nation, learned she had been adopted, he sued for custody. South Carolina Supreme Court initially gave the child to Brown, citing that same federal law designed to keep Native American families together. The Capobiancos fought back, taking their case to the U.S. Supreme Court, which reversed the state court, ruling that Brown had relinquished his parental rights, which cleared the way for Veronica to stay with her adoptive parent.
The ICWA takes great measures to keep Native children in the care of family members. The beauty of this law is that it really takes into account the long-term effects when a child's cut off from his or her culture. Judge Bill Thorne.
I was sick. I became anorexic. I didn't eat for almost 2 months. And I got a call from the attorney, and he said that we made a mistake and you need to go to court and give him up again. And I said no. That was the beginning of the adoption battle. The end result of ICWA it's amazing. It's amazing to see it in place right here.
In December 2016, the Bureau of Indian Affairs published new guidelines called Guidelines for State Courts in Indian Child Custody Proceedings. These are non-legally binding and were the first changes since 1979. In addition, the first ever complete federal regulations dealing with ICWA implementation for state courts and public and private agencies became effective. These regulations provided explanations of many of the key requirements under ICWA and are legally binding. The lasting impact of the Indian Child Welfare Act, ICWA, is a huge reduction of the number of Native American children removed from their families and communities, allowing for greater cultural protection and tribal control by keeping placement with extended family or within the tribe whenever possible, while also requiring states to actively work the tribes to ensure culturally appropriate child welfare practices. Challenges remain regarding consistent implementation and enough funding to fully support ICWA goals, but their responsibility has helped Native Americans uphold their family rights.
Culture grounds you and gives you something greater than just me. It takes away the selfishness, but it also, in a way, it is kind of all about you and making you stronger, and it makes everyone involved with that culture more connected to each other and their surroundings and a better person to offer themselves to the world.